Several storylines and conflicts are important to remember before Chicago Med returns for the second half of Season 10. The youngest One Chicago show will be participating in a crossover on January 29th, but first it will have 2 standalone episodes that will help tie up existing storylines and introduce new ones. Like most Dick Wolf Entertainment shows, the medical drama ended with several exciting cliffhanger that it is expected to address when it returns. Chicago Med's fall finale was designed to keep people talking, as 2 major characters' fates were left up in the air, with one of them possibly near death. Audiences speculated about whether Sharon Goodwin's Epatha Murkison would live after being attacked or if Chicago Med's Archer was leaving the show. Archer is one of Steven Weber's best roles, and it will leave a large hole in the Chicago Med Season 10 cast if he leaves, especially if the worst happens to Sharon. 5. Sharon's life hangs in the balance after an attack in her office. She was fighting to survive as the credit rolled. Chicago Med Sharon lying against the wall looking weak while her attacker stares at her. Sharon's stalker storyline came to an explosive climax just before the final credits rolled. She thought the police had caught her stalker, but they had the wrong person, and the real stalker, the wife of a late patient who blamed Sharon for her partner's death, broke into her office and held her at knife point. While Sharon was able to keep her attacker talking for a while, the woman eventually lost her temper and impulsively stabbed Sharon before feeling bad about it and begging her to wake up. The final minutes of the hour were unforgettable television. Sharon appeared to be unconscious until Archer came to her office to deliver his letter of resignation. Afterward, Sharon used her last bit of strength to temporarily fight off her attacker and bang on her door to get Archer's attention. However, it was too late because Archer was already in the elevator and the doors were closing. Thus, it is unclear whether he will return in time to help Sharon or if she will bleed out before help arrives. Archer has officially resigned from Gaffney Medical, but may change his mind. There is still no news on whether he is leaving the show. Archer appeared to be leaving Chicago Med, but it's possible he will change his mind. After being demoted to attending, he put his best foot forward and tried to be positive and accepting of Sharon's decision, but told Hannah, Jesse Schramm, privately that he couldn't deal with not being the ED chief anymore and thus wanted to resign. Despite Hannah encouraging him to sleep on his decision, he went to Sharon's office and turned in his letter, but that doesn't necessarily mean Archer will stick to his original plan. Archer's involvement with Sharon's rescue could go either way. He might realize that if he wasn't on staff at the hospital, Sharon wouldn't have been rescued in time, and he may also be needed to help with her care once she is out of the attacker's clutches. This could give him a renewed sense of purpose that allows him to remain at Gaffney. However, he might also feel that the lack of security and increased violence among patients that led to this disaster are additional signs that he needs to move on. 3. Lennox is now the sole person in charge of Gaffney Med's emergency department. Chicago Med Goodwin holds up her hand while talking to Lennox. Archer was demoted after a prolonged battle with newcomer Caitlin Lennox, Sarah Ramos. Lennox is young, idealistic, and assertive, and her ideas for reform have not been popular with most of the staff, but Archer had a particularly difficult time dealing with her because he was expected to share the ED chief duties with her and didn't agree with any of her opinions. Thus, he waited until the right time to strike and try to get rid of her after Sharon overruled Archer's objections to Lennox's treatment plan for a comatose teenager. Archer blamed Lennox for the patient's death on the operating table and sought her removal, threatening to quit if she wasn't demoted. However, Sharon called Archer's bluff by demoting him instead. This means that Lennox is solely responsible for ED decisions, and will be in charge when Sharon is brought in, assuming she lives long enough to be taken to the ED. Depending on how she handles this crisis, Lennox could either repair her reputation with the staff or become even more disliked.